The first round is in the books, and we have some stunning results, not so stunning results, and what on earth happened to home ice advantage. We'll break down the first round. We'll prognosticate the second round right now here on Teal Town Live. And a pleasant good evening to you on this Monday night, May 1st, 2023, as some would say, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday in Buffalo. And Buffalo, congratulations, you are still on the schneid for the longest playoff streak now. Welcome to this edition of Teal Town Live. This is your live interactive, I guess it's still a post-game, as the Devils beat the Rangers 4-0 in Game 7. So if you want to be part of the show, here's how you do it. Chat with us and fellow hockey fans all over the world and in Sharks territory. We are still a Sharks podcast, folks. Of course, follow us on the social, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, SoundCloud, Reddit, Discord, TikTok, and of course find everything at tealtownusa.com. And if you want to support the pod, you can always do so on Venmo or in Super Chat. And with that, good evening. I am Eric Curra alongside Mr. Ian Reed. How are you, bud?
I'm good. It's been a minute since we've done one of these, hasn't it?
It's only been a month since the Sharks season ended, and maybe 3 weeks, if that, 2 weeks, if that. But
I know it feels like a long time. Like for considering like how burnt I was at the end of the season, it feels like it's been forever since we've done one of these. So
exactly,
it's good to be back.
It's good to see you. It's good to talk hockey with you as always, my friend. Let's kind of, since we're getting the crew from from the whole result of the game between the Devils and Rangers. What did you think of that Game 7?
I mean, I don't like the way it ended, and not because I have anything against the Devils, right? Like I don't have anything against the Devils. It just completely like rest in peace, the angry Canadian bracket. There will be no. Let's put it like this, all right? I did a good enough job defending my bracket challenge title for the Teal Town group, as well as the Colorado Avalanche defended their Stanley Cup title. We're both done in the first round. It's that bad.
Damn, is it? I know in our Teal Town League bracket, I picked Boston to go all the way to the final.
Take the workout off.
And I believe the NHL put it out that only 0.5% picked the Panthers to win in round one, and only 0.9% picked the Kraken to win in round one. I think even all the ESPN, experts said they all picked the Avalanche, and of course the Kraken brought out. It's just like Devils. I think a lot more people were expecting the Rangers to just dominate. So,
yeah, I mean, this is why the playoffs are great, right? Because you have a situation like this where I think you come into the series and it doesn't, a lot of people are picking the Rangers in this series, even though the Devils were the higher seeded team. I picked the Rangers because of Igor Shesterkin, and I don't think that like this isn't on Igor Shesterkin. I think he played really, really well. I just don't think the team in front of him was particularly good. And then obviously you have and this is why the playoffs are great, because, you have a guy like Akira Schmid come in who no one really knows. I'm sure Devils fans know him, right? But I don't think he was a super well-known guy outside of, like the unless you're like a hardcore prospects guy, comes in out of nowhere and, and wins the series for the Devils. Like he was phenomenal in this series. And this again, like this is why the playoffs are great, because you have guys like that come out of nowhere, and just win a series for a team. So I mean, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Lindy Ruff. Like, go back to the start of the season, right? And people were people were chanting for this guy to be fired. And now, he coaches the team. The team gets on track. And then they go and they win a series against a team that a lot of people had counted them out against. Yeah. So, I mean, Lindy Ruff, I don't know who I picked for my Jack Adams on our Teal Town thing, but if I don't have Lindy Ruff on my ballot. I did it wrong.
Well, I just think, I'm getting feedback audio. Sorry about that.
Okay.
But it's just interesting, for Jack Adams, because I think a lot of people were going to pick Dave Haxtell.
Dave Haxtell should be on,
and Jim Montgomery.
There's a lot of people, like obviously Jim Montgomery is the one that comes to mind, and again, it's a regular season trophy, and I'm sure we're going to get to Boston at some point, but
yes,
obviously it's hard I'm sure Jim Montgomery was high on my ballot, if not number one, but I think Lindy Ruff should probably get, again, like you look at the season that he had, like where he started from to where he is now, and I'm super happy because when your team's not in the playoffs, you just, you can either bandwagon team or you can just like good stories, right? And I think what Lindy Ruff has gone through this year and where he started to where he is now, that's a great story. And Lindy Ruff's a likable guy, so I'm happy for Lindy Ruff, even if it completely obliterated my bracket.
Yeah, at this point, you're just like, oh well.
Oh, it's over, man. It's over. I think I got the only series that I got right in the East was Toronto beating Tampa.
Oh, and
that's the only series I got right in the East. I like to pick an upset, and I thought that the Islanders might upset the Canes. I think the Canes getting through too. That's another nice story because I think a lot of people kind of pick on the Canes. I don't trust the Canes goaltending to take them very far, but I think the Canes get a lot of shit from people, so I think it's nice that they got through, even though it didn't help my bracket out very well. But yeah. I think it's nice for them to kind of break through, and obviously the Leafs finally breaking a 19-year drought, for the for winning a Stanley Cup playoff series. I think it was obviously it's long overdue when you look at the roster that they've put together. I mean, this team should have broken through sooner. Right. But I think it's nice that they, broke through. And I don't think Tampa, like I picked Toronto to win that series because I think Tampa's kind of on the downslide. I think when you look at the moves they kind of made, like when you're throwing away like all those draft picks to bring in a guy like Tanner Jeannot, like I think it's like you've gone to the well one too many times. And I think a little bit of the magic is kind of worn off there. Now look, they're still a good team. And they played, like, again, you want to talk about a team that's played a ton of hockey in the past 3 years, right? Like these guys that they played in the last 3 Stanley Cup finals. So I think they were due for a hiccup like this. I think the rest will do them good, and I think it'll be interesting to see what they look like next year, what moves they have to make in the offseason. But they still have, like, I mean, they've got one of the best goalies in the league in Andrei Vasilevsky. They still got good talent there. So I mean, they could jump back into things next year. But I'm curious to see how they approach next season, because I think, again, like just throwing all your draft picks overboard to bring in a guy like Tanner Jeannot, they got away with it before. You gave us a first for Barclay Goodrow.
That's probably what they were thinking, is like, let's just repeat what we've done before.
So they kind of like those trips to the well. I think you can go to the well one too many times, and I think they did. I think they went to the well one too many times, and you just look at them and I don't think it worked out this time.
Oh well, no. So let's just go over.
Yeah, I kind of just went all over the place.
No, you're good. You're good. We'll just go over the East first. But before we do that, let's introduce the poll question that is on the super chat right now, and that's the biggest. To what you think the biggest upset of round one was? Was it Seattle? Was it, dare I say, Toronto? Just because they always shoot themselves in the foot, and after one game, you thought, oh God, and then of course Florida. So check that out if you're in the super chat.
I mean,
you think so?
Look at Boston had the season they had. They were up 3-1 in their series, and Florida came all the way back.
Right.
There isn't a bigger upset than that. They had them dead to rights. All they had to do was win one more game, twice.
Fair point. I'll give some votes for the Kraken, and of course we'll get to the Kraken a little bit. But I mean, just
the Kraken, sure, but but that series was more close. Like I don't like there wasn't.
Right.
I don't remember like I don't think Colorado was ever super up in that series. It was kind of a back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly, I'm not super remembering correctly right now. But I just like when you look at Boston, like it's just they were up 3-1. They should have put it away.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. I think you can definitely give Boston, who was like 43 points better than the Panthers were, 65 wins, 133 points, and now that Toronto got over their schneid, I mean they're the joke, and who knows? Considering we'll start with Boston, Florida there, who knows if that was Bergeron's last game, if that was Krejci's last game. What do you for Boston? What's next? Because now you kind of have to start, at least retooling soon. Unless you go for one more kick at the can.
Yeah, I think when you have you still have guys, it's going to be interesting to see. I think they have enough guys there that you can kind of I think you have to go for it. I think you're in the bed you're in. I think you have to go for it with the guys that they still have under contract.
Right.
They're kind of I would put them in the same boat, like Toronto, right? Like Toronto never really deviated from the path, right? Like they kept losing in the first round, but they never really deviated because they had the guys. You don't rebuild the rebuild. So I think as long as you have the guys, Pittsburgh kind of did the same thing, right? Pittsburgh went, as long as Crosby, Malkin, and Letang are still there, they're always all in. I feel like Boston is got to be in that same boat. Because I think, they could lose Bergeron, and there definitely could be subtractions from that roster, but I think there's still enough of a core there that you still have to be kind of loyal to that core.
Sure.
And I think they have to go for it still.
All right. Well, I agree with you in that sense because Marchand, it's built to win the cup even if Bergeron says farewell.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think you have to be loyal enough to the rest of the guys there that that you're going to go for it if you're Boston. I think this year sucks, and it's funny because I looked at that when I was doing my bracket. I looked at that series really, really hard because we've seen this how many times, right? A team just roars through the regular season and gets bounced in the playoffs early. And I looked so hard at that series, but I didn't really like the way I don't like the Panthers that much as far as just team construction. And I think that look at credit to Sergei Bobrovsky who came in. And I thought he played really, really well, but I don't trust Bobrovsky. The issue I have with Bobrovsky is the amount of money he makes. I don't think he's worth the contract.
You look at, we hear about Erik Karlsson and his contract here or Darnell Nurse or anything.
But I wouldn't pay any goalie that much money.
But that's just ridiculous. But now he's taken 2 President's Trophy teams and eliminated them.
I will give him that. When he is on, he is on. The problem is
he's not always on.
Bobrovsky being on is not a given.
Right. When you're starting Alex Lyon in game 1, that screams volumes to me. You don't trust this goalie to get his head out of his butt, Yeah.
And like I said, when he's on, he can be fantastic. Don't get me wrong. Bobrovsky has played some really good hockey over his thing, but I just don't think he's consistent enough to be a $10 million goalie.
Right. Dana went 5 for 8 in round 1. Okay, no need to rub it in, Dana. Nice job. But good to see you too. Appreciate it. We love you. Thank you so much for being
than
on.
I did. I think I went 4 and 4. So.
I'm afraid to look, and for that matter, I can't anyways because the light is on my phone right now. So, oh no. So yeah, Florida. Matthew Tkachuk did Matthew Tkachuk things.
That guy's a gamer, man.
Holy crap! You've talked about the flip side of paying somebody a lot of money. He put them on their back to just go for it.
He really did, and there was, I think, one of the goal. I think it was in the last game there, like maybe it was a tying goal, I think, and like it was because he got into Swayman's head, and Swayman was too busy batting him in the back of the head with his catcher than trying to stop a puck, and it cost him a goal against. I mean, he's such a pain in the ass to play against, and plus he can put the puck in the net too. Like, he is just the ultimate agitator player, because he can hurt you in so many different ways.
Absolutely.
And I think, if you look at, he didn't want to stay in Calgary. Calgary was kind of, in a tough spot when they had to move him. But, I think that's a guy that's really hard to replace.
And we'll talk about Calgary a little bit later in the program, with everything going on there. That's crazy. But Connor Verhaeghe with the overtime winner. I'm so bummed Butchergrass didn't pick my tweet to win it, because
what a jerk.
Damn it. But congrats to the Panthers. Now you get Toronto. And we'll get into that series in a little bit. We're going to finish breaking down the first.
Yeah, we'll get to prognostications at some point.
Toronto winning 3 games in overtime on the road.
This is like,
after that, how that series started. I mean, wow.
This is the Chaos Cup. It feels like you look at it. You got
exactly.
You've got you've got Colorado and the Lightning already out. So there's your Stanley Cup winners for the past 3 years. Out. Yeah, the best team in the regular season out. You have a team with the best goalie in the league, in my opinion, in Igor Shesterkin, out. Like, it is the Chaos Cup. I mean, it's nice because
love it.
I love it because, again, somebody is going to with who's left, someone's going to probably break a pretty lengthy drought or win their first cup. That's fun. I think that's a lot of fun.
I think Carolina is the most recent cup winner out of the 8 that are left at 2006.
Right. Exactly. So, I mean, there's a lengthy, someone's going to, that's going to be a lengthy drought broken. We'll see how lengthy it is, or someone's going to win their first Stanley Cup. That's fun. I like it.
I absolutely love it. Let's go to Carolina and the Islanders. I think you and me kind of were talking about a little bit where, Islanders could be the team that can creep up on people, and Carolina held them within strength. But I'll give credit to the Islanders for giving a run in this series.
Islanders, to me, are a team that's they're just built for the playoffs. You know what I mean? There's nothing super fancy about the Islanders. I just feel like they're a team built for the playoffs. And the thing with Carolina is I don't trust their goaltending. And goaltending is so important in the playoffs. Because not only the thing with goaltending, especially on there, I don't think their goaltending's particularly good. And all their goaltending in Carolina is made of glass. Freddie Anderson seems to be he's always got some injury every year.
Same with Mikko Ranta.
Yeah.
Antti Ranta, excuse me.
Antti Ranta, again, another guy who, is just a guy who just seems to get injured at the worst possible time. I think we saw it last year in the playoffs with Carolina, where they kind of went through all their goalies because guys just got hurt. But, credit again, like I said earlier, credit to Carolina, because I think a lot of people were picking them to be the upset of the first round.
Right.
And so I'm happy for them that they kind of got through it, and they weren't I don't know how long, again, I don't think they're long for this world in the playoffs. But that series with Carolina, New Jersey, that's going to be a fun series. I will get to prognostications later, but yeah, it's going to be a fun series. I think that's the one where I'm having the hardest time.
Yeah, no, totally. It's going to be an interesting one. Yeah, somebody in red and black. That's guaranteed lock,
right?
In that series, unless they break out, reverse retro or heritage uniforms there.
Not allowed. You can only wear one jersey during the playoffs.
Oh gosh. You know that they would go nuts if they did that. It's not the NBA where I think the Warriors wore 4 or 5 jerseys in a 7-game series.
I don't know why. But it's an NHL rule, right? Because remember how you used to always get so mad when the Sharks would wear their black jerseys in the playoffs.
I was the leader of that.
Oh, same here, man. Because it's like, why are you trying to be the team that keeps putting you out? Like, be Team Teal. That's your identity. But alas, that's an old rant for.
But wear black jerseys and orange rally towels. Okay, I digress. Moving on to the West.
Moving on.
Vegas, Winnipeg. I didn't know how badly Winnipeg was a tire fire, and I think that was how badly Winnipeg was a tire fire, and I think that was to the advantage of the Golden Knights. To be quite honest.
Yeah, man, Winnipeg. I don't even know what to make of the Winnipeg Jets. I feel bad for the Winnipeg Jets, man, because like, look at this is a team that is going to.
I still don't really.
Yeah, my thingy. I don't know. It just kicked out, and I don't have. Let me refresh.
Wonderful.
I don't know if we're back. Maybe we're back. Let me see where we're at here.
I'm still getting comments in the chat.
Okay.
So
well,
I think we're okay. Yeah,
YouTube's
I still
so far
show
behind too. Okay.
Yeah, that's true. So we'll see. We'll keep going on there.
We seem to be good. All right. Sorry. What were we talking about?
Vegas.
Winnipeg. Yeah, Winnipeg. I feel bad for Winnipeg because I think it is a market that obviously is going to struggle in the free agent market. And I think there's a lot of dysfunction there. When you look at obviously like, Paul Maurice just up and left to go to Florida.
Yeah.
There's obviously, so they bring in Rick Bowness, and I feel bad for that's a passionate fan base, man.
Right.
And it sucks because unfortunately, as and this isn't a Winnipeg specific problem. I think there are Canadian teams that have this issue. They kind of have to manage their team with an arm tied behind their back.
Right.
Something is definitely broken there. Like something is rotten to the core in Winnipeg, and I think it's going to be a fascinating summer to see how they manage to move players around or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel bad for them. I like Connor Hellebuck a lot. I like some of their players a lot, but something just feels really wrong in Winnipeg right now. And I think it's going to, they're going to have to, I feel like this is a team that's going to have to probably start looking at rebuilding, and they have to rebuild through the draft because again, this is a team that doesn't attract free agents. San Jose has a problem too. It's not like this is a Canadian team problem. Like San Jose has had a hard time getting marquee free agents to come to San Jose. Like everything San Jose has done has generally been through the draft. Winnipeg, I think, is in a very similar boat. They have to acquire people by trade and then hope they want to stick around. But I just feel like no one wants to be there right now. And I don't know anything, super. I don't want to, speak super out of turn here because I don't know the ins and outs of the Winnipeg Jets. But when you look at how the coach reacted and then how the players reacted to the coach's reaction, it looks dysfunctional as fuck. And I wonder if it's time that they need to. And maybe this starts at the top, right? Like Kevin Cheveldayoff has been there for a long time. I know the Winnipeg Jets ownership group has been very loyal to him, but I wonder if they need to make some changes and if that change starts at the top.
Oh man, if that were the case, then that's what 3 GMs switched out in the NHL and over the course of a 3-week period after the regular season's done. That's
look at those exit interviews and what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
Like we here in San Jose have talked about culture, and it's been the key buzzword, right? Like is culture, and I just wonder if Winnipeg needs a little of that buzzword in their things for their podcasters to complain about endlessly. I don't know.
Yeah, my apologies if I got Winnipeg Wi-Fi right now. I know, bad joke, but I don't know what's going on, but I apologize for it. I'm trying to make sure everything is up and up.
But onto Vegas, we should probably talk about Vegas.
Yes.
They move on. Vegas. Who I was happy for. I was happy for Jack Eichel because I thought Jack Eichel had a really good first round, and Jack Eichel gets so much shit that he doesn't deserve. Like, don't get me wrong. Look, I hate Vegas as much as the next Teal Bleeding Sharks fan, right? Like I hate Vegas, but again, like at this point, when your team's not playing and you're just enjoying the games, like you look for things, you look for people to root for and stories to root for, and I'm happy Jack Eichel had a really good first round. Like again, I think Jack Eichel takes all kinds of shit, and it's gonna be. I'm fascinated though because again, that's gonna be an interesting series because they draw Edmonton now, so that'll be fun.
That'll be fun. And speaking of Edmonton taking care of LA in 6 games there, man,
Kings put up more of a fight than I thought they would. I'll give them that. Like I'll give the Kings credit. I didn't think this would be. I don't think that I thought this would be a long series. I thought it was gonna be like a 5-gamer. I mean, it was 6. Look at LA's on the come up, man. That's the one thing that I took out of the series is LA is on the come up. And that's shit news for us because LA is a team that I think is ready to take that next step. Right. Edmonton's Edmonton. Teams like Vancouver are gonna, Vancouver's gonna get another player in the draft. Anaheim's
say Vancouver.
Did somebody say Anaheim? Vancouver, take another player in the draft, right? Like, there's there is going to be an arms race in the Pacific very soon, and I don't know where the Sharks are going to sit in that.
Well, everybody's like, the Pacific Division sucks and stuff. Yeah, okay.
Well, yeah, but that's the problem is when your division sucks is everyone starts getting high draft picks.
Exactly. But yeah, Edmonton. Wow.
I mean, Edmonton's Edmonton.
They look dangerous.
They look dangerous. But I'm not a big fan of Stuart Skinner.
Yeah.
Like I think he's done well, and I don't want to say completely, but I think that I think there are flaws in his game that are exploitable, and I think Edmonton's kind of a glass cannon, man.
Yeah. In my mind, is their goaltending. I mean, their power play has been phenomenal. I mean, the greatest power play in NHL history during the regular season. They continue to do it on there in the playoffs.
They just need more guys to step up.
To me, I just wonder...
They need more offense from other players, though.
Yeah. To me, I wonder if LA was Korpisalo that good of a replacement for Jonathan Quick?
Yeah, I think I don't put this on Korpisalo. I think Korpisalo played a decent. I thought Korpisalo had a decent playoff run. I like Jonathan Quick more than I should, being a good Sharks fan. But Jonathan Quick's best days are behind him. I think his style of goaltending has wreaked havoc on his lower body, which it should, because if everything that Jonathan Quick used to do, he was so good at moving along the bottom of the net, but that style of plays just havoc on your knees and hips, which I think has caught up to him. Because I've never seen a goalie move like Jonathan Quick around the bottom of the net. Look at Korpisalo. Korpisalo came in and gave them I think Korpisalo gave them a fighting chance in this series, and I think that was a good move because again, Jonathan Quick's best days are behind him. They had to move on at some point, and it was time.
Probably the honor of all 8 series, Dallas and Minnesota, started out with a bang, literally from Dumba via Pavelski. He was trying to go for Game 6, but he ended up not going. He was up to Peter DeBoer shenaniganery.
Remember, he did the same thing when he was here. Remember when Joe Thornton got hurt? Exactly. And it was so obvious Joe Thornton was not coming back when you saw the injury, but they're like, oh, I don't know. He's skating. But then they'd show a video of him skating, and you're like, yeah, he's not going.
No. I mean, the obvious part was when you have 3 A's and a captain out on the ice, it's like, come on, guys. You missed that part. But Dallas, Jake Ottinger, oh my goodness,
amazing, great.
Is he the goaltender, du jour of this playoffs now?
I think probably. I think Akira Schmid's going to get a lot of that talk right now, but Jake Ottinger was really, really good in that series, and I think as the crowd thins out, and if Dallas is able to move on, I think Jake Ottinger is going to get a lot more flowers than he probably got for the first round.
Yeah, no, I think he's played fantastic. Hopefully, Pavelski's able to go round 2. We'll get into that obviously. A little bit. Minnesota, yeah. I mean, where they go now? Because don't those buyouts really kick in now for their cap?
Yeah, they've got like $14 million in dead cap next season. And then, but this is the last season. Next season's the last season, and then after that, that dead cap gets infinitesimally smaller. I think they're like 800,000 each, so like 1.6 million. So if they can get through next year, then again, Minnesota's a team that I think, obviously, I think they wanted to do good. Like they were built to try and go further, but they're a team to me. Like I think that their best years are coming up ahead of them.
Yeah, it'll be definitely an interesting time in Minnesota. They've shown some great strides. And with Kaprizov in there, I mean, it's just nothing else. But now,
like Felix asking, like, do they go into rebuild mode? They're already kind of in that. Like, look at, they're gonna come out of this dead cap era that they're in, and then guys like hopefully are going to take the next step. I think if you look at Jesper Wallstedt had a really good year in the AHL this year. He's the future in goal there. So I think, once they come out of there, you're going to have guys like Wallstedt coming up to try and be their goalie of the future. I think they're fine. I think this year, like making it, anything that they did this year was kind of house money. And I kind of feel that way next year too. I think it's the next couple of years after that. That's when I think we're really going to watch the Wild, because then they're going to be able to spend some money and add to what's already a pretty good team.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, Jake Middleton. But let's get into the final one of the first round, Seattle, Colorado. To me, I kept looking at Seattle as like the Sharks of '94 a little bit. Nobody was really giving Seattle anything to do anything this year. Like, get better, sure, but I mean, then again, we weren't expecting a fall off like Calgary did.
I thought people were sleeping on Seattle, but apparently I was too, because they're in the second round of the playoffs. So as much as I thought people were sleeping on them, I was still sleeping on them because I didn't have them doing this well. I thought they were going to be better, but I didn't think they would be this much better. Look, Colorado, obviously, look at injuries played a factor, I think, in that series. I had a hard time picking this series. I just thought that Colorado, being the defending champions, and just having some of the players, like, I still think it's a pretty well constructed team, but obviously not having Landeskog hurts. I'm not a big Georgiev guy. Like, I've never thought very much of Georgiev. I think Georgiev had a good season this year. He had definitely decent numbers, and I don't blame him for Seattle knocking them out. Like, I wouldn't just lay this out at Georgiev's feet. I think, again, credit to the Seattle Kraken. I think it's nice. I'm happy that they get to celebrate their first playoff win. That's always fun, and to beat the defending Stanley Cup champions, I mean, that's a hell of a way to do it. So,
oh my God, yeah.
I mean, I think Colorado will be fine. I think they'll be back next year and they'll be scary, as long as they can get healthy going into the playoffs, which I don't think they were this year.
Yeah, and you wonder internally if there's anything concerning with the Nichushkin situation in the Seattle hotel. You wonder.
Yeah, I mean, that's
how many guys were actually battling injuries, and
I think there's a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff going on in Colorado. Again, there's injuries. They have some off ice stuff, obviously, with the Nichushkin situation, which I don't know enough about, so I'm not going to opine on, just because I don't know anything. I just other than basically what's the relief was, so I don't want to comment on something that I haven't really looked into a great deal. But obviously, yeah, they had a lot of stuff going on, and I don't think they're healthy. So, I mean, congratulations to the Kraken for sure. But that was the only series in the West that I got wrong. The West was much better for me than the East this year. Holy moly.
Yeah, we'll see on that. So that's kind of a quickie run out of what happened in round one. Now let's get into round two, which starts tomorrow. And I know I have the first one up, but I think what we will definitely start off with is, let's start off with the series that's actually going to start tomorrow, and that's Seattle and Dallas. Obviously, as we mentioned just now, Seattle shocking the Avalanche 4-3. They're the first expansion team to make their playoff debut. They're taking out a Stanley Cup champion.
Mm-hmm.
But Dallas has some good offensive firepower, decent defense. Jake Ottinger's amazing. What do you think in this one?
In my bracket, I had the Dallas Stars making it to the Stanley Cup final before they lost to the Rangers. LOL. I still really like Dallas. I think Dallas is a team that is built, again, you talk about teams built for the playoffs. I think Dallas is one of those teams. I don't really see a flaw in this team. I just so to me, again, Jake, and it's hard to bet against Jake Ottinger.
Right.
That's, and a lot of times when it's like when you have trouble picking a series, like I'll look at the goaltending and then kind of go from there. I like Jake Ottinger way more than I like Philip Grubauer. Philip Grubauer probably deserves more respect than he gets, but I really like Jake Ottinger. I think Dallas is going to win this series. I think it's going to be 6 games. I don't think it's going to be easy, but I think ultimately Dallas is going to prevail. Hell of a run for the Kraken either way.
Right.
Again, second-year team, right? Second-year team in the league. Now, obviously, expansion teams start in a much better state than they used to. So that needs to be said. But look,
truth.
And you know what? And that's the way it should be, because if you're going to pay almost $1 billion for a team, it shouldn't suck for 10 years.
No. And for that matter, it shouldn't suck for 10 years, but you shouldn't have everything handed to you in one plate. And I think that's why everybody has been jumping on the Seattle bandwagon a little bit there. Ottinger just seems like it's just the go-to, to be quite honest.
I think they're like, I think their offense didn't, and the thing with Dallas, their offense didn't miss a beat without Pavelski. So I think eventually Pavelski's going to get re-added into the lineup. It's a matter of when, not if. Right. I think. So that's only going to help it. But again, man, I think Seattle's going to make it an entertaining series. I think it's going to be a fun series. I just think Dallas is going to beat them.
Yeah. I will say, I regrettingly say Dallas in 7. Mm-hmm. Because I think Seattle can still turn things around and still surprise. I mean, if you could take out the Stanley Cup champions with McKinnon, I don't think Dallas has that dangerous of firepower.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Cale Makar was 100% either. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is Jared McCann still injured? That's a good question. Unfortunately, it's the playoffs, and injuries are guarded better than the nuclear codes. So I can't.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that question because, again, it's the playoffs, and this is the one thing. If we're gonna sit through 17 betting ads every intermission, and every commercial break, this was supposed to end, but nope, they're still hiding with the nuclear code somewhere.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes for that one. I think Dallas has the upper edge, but an upset wouldn't surprise me. So there's that. All right, so we're going to do a quickie little thingy here because the series just ended and the graphic finally came up. So let's go New Jersey, Carolina.
Oh.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, man, I don't know. Gosh, I think it's going to be a fun series. Man, both these teams are so good.
I mean, you go between Akira Schmid versus the combination of Rantanen
I know
Anderson.
exactly. And I hate to be a jerk like to these guys because I think they're both like Antti Ranta and Freddie Anderson are both great goalies. I just think they're made of glass. I know Timo Meier came back after that Trouba hit. He was on the bench. I'm kind of like it doesn't help the Sharks. Like the Sharks need the Devils out ASAP. But
yes,
I do not like the Carolina Hurricanes, man. I don't like them. Not as I don't like them because like I don't like them for any reason. I just don't think like I look at that team and I don't think enough of it. And maybe it's one of these times where like they're just gonna win a cup and then I'll be like I'm an idiot. I'm taking. I hate to do this because I always do this. This is how you know I don't know the answer. Devils in 7.
I'm kind of with you on that. I think Devils in 7 is kind of the way. However, I could totally see Bernsey and company do amazing things. If there was a stronger,
if they can solve Schmid, like here's the thing, right? If Carolina can do what New York couldn't and they solve Schmid, then maybe it'll be different. But man, I don't like Carolina's goaltending. So I'm gonna go with the hot goalie, and that's Schmid in the series,
which should unlock a first round pick for the Sharks.
Yeah, I know Svechnikov for Carolina too. So credit.
That's true too. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
I don't hate Brent Burns, man. I don't like their goaltending. And if and look at, I will say this, like as far as shutdown guys go, like there isn't anyone better than Jacob Slavin. And I like Brett Pesce a lot too. Like I do like their blue line, but like if Carolina's goalies, which we've seen happen time and time again, get broken, I mean that's not good. It's just I think it just throws a huge wrench in it, man. I'm sticking with it. Devils in 7.
All right, I'll go Devils in 7 as well. Not to match up with you, but Laurel in the chat. Burns.
I don't know.
Laurel in the chat. Good evening to you, my friend. Bernsey versus Timo. Not just Bernsey versus Timo. Bernsey and Stefan Nason versus Timo. And Nason had a decent playoff round for the Hurricanes in round 1 too. So, and Laurel also in the chat saying, I can't. Oh, well, okay, that's not going to work on this part. Can't believe I've watched every game so far this playoff series. Loving so much hockey. As a side point, before we move on to the next series, Ian, as much as it sucks that the Sharks are in the playoffs, it is fun to see some great series.
You know what? It's been really enjoyable to just watch hockey. Like, look at, I never like, I always make it sound like we have the worst hobby in the fucking universe, but like it's been so nice. Like, and I'm happy to be here tonight. I don't want anyone to think otherwise. Don't be like this is like Eric dragged me online. It was nice to watch.
And said, "Dude, you're getting online tonight."
Right. Yeah. No, it's been nice to just watch the game and just enjoy the game without having to worry about like, oh my God, I gotta find something to talk about. And like it's I really enjoyed like it's been a little bit since I did my last, like when I did our last show, like man, I told her like just leave me alone until the fucking draft lottery.
Can we have just like a couple more bye weeks, Gary? Come on. Yeah, that would help us out a
bit. Like I was like, just leave me alone till the draft lottery. But now like this, it's amazing how much just enjoying the game allows you to just like recharge your battery.
Yeah, totally. Skylar with the $2 super chat. Thank you very much.
Thank you
for supporting us. Watch the 2023 Hurricanes pull a 2006 Hurricanes.
Yeah, look, it could happen. I'm not saying it couldn't happen, right? Like this is one of those years where I just think throw logic completely out the window because nothing makes sense.
Hey, Stefan Nason is this year's Ray Whitney. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Could happen.
So there's that one. We will move onward to Florida and Toronto. The series everybody expected to have. Man. I mean, how do you reject Florida after what they just did against Boston, and then how do you say to Toronto, you got over the hump, now you have a decent opponent in the waiting for you, and especially with Bobrovsky. I mean, he's literally a wild card.
Yeah. See, this series is so fascinating because, again, it's like you said, right? Like, Toronto just got over this big emotional hump. And I think here's my concern with Toronto, right? Is they just got over this hump. They broke a 19-year first round, not getting out of the first round, or not making the playoffs at all, for that matter. They hadn't made it, they hadn't won a playoff round in 19 years. And then right after that, the team that has haunted there's the team that's completely haunted a lot of your recent playoff memories gets eliminated by a team that they shouldn't have lost to.
Yeah.
Right. So I think for Toronto, I worry about a couple of things. I worry about, one, do you when you use all that energy and you get through the first round, like how emotionally, like you get through that situation, and you wonder if if it's like, oh, that's such a relief, right? And then do they take the Panthers lightly than they should, right? Because again, It's not Boston. I think if it was Boston, like if Boston had beat Florida, even going to 7 games, I would take Boston in the series easily, hands down. But against the Panthers, I just wonder if Toronto, again, like, is Toronto gonna be a team that takes the Panthers lightly and finds themselves down quickly? Or, do they finally get out of the first round? And then, remember when the Sharks finally made it out of the second round? Remember how the second round was our absolute enemy? And then what happened?
Then
Swept by Chicago.
Yeah.
Right. And I just wonder if it's a situation like that. That being said, there is no reason this Toronto team shouldn't have won a series sooner. And I look at, on paper, Toronto's the better team, man.
Yeah.
Like, I have a hard time. Like, I have a hard time seeing Toronto lose now. Like, I think Toronto, their path through the East, I don't think they're ever going to have an easier path.
This
to the
is their
Stanley Cup
time.
Final. This is it, man. Like, I'm not saying like if they don't win this year, they're never going to win it, but this is one of those years where I think when you have so many, teams, especially teams that they beat the Lightning, a team that haunted them last year, and then before, and then the team that really haunted them, Boston, they don't even have to play. I like the Leafs in this series. I'm gonna take the Leafs in 5, because I think if this series goes longer, the longer this series goes, I think that works against them. I think that works for the Panthers. I think that Toronto needs to come into this series with the Florida Panthers, and they need to blitz them. And if they get down by a couple of games early, I don't like their chances of coming back and winning the series.
Yeah, Florida will have too much momentum on that. And granted, I know what you're talking about with 2010, but of course, 2004 was also craziness for the Sharks in that in that case.
Yeah, just a different era. Like, that team was a different era.
I get what you were saying, what you were trying to make sure. I was just making sure we all knew what was going on there. I mean, to me, this is Toronto's Eastern Conference championship to lose. I think they can take down New Jersey. I think they can take down Carolina if they get there, but they got to get through Florida first. They can't get cocky. They can't get arrogant.
No,
and that goes the same thing with the fan base. Granted,
well, they can. They'll do it regardless. I mean,
true.
They got eliminated in the first round last year, and and they had themselves winning the hypothetical Stanley Cup because if they just got through Tampa, but you didn't. That's the problem.
Yeah. And, for those who had been suffering, and all shout out to Steve Dangle, who put up with all the crap that they gone through. Hey,
yeah.
congrats.
Like,
just calm your emotions if you get through this round.
Yeah, I just wish my buddy was still around to see it, because he suffered a long time and then passed in 2020, and so
that's a tough ones.
Yeah, it just sucked. Like I just wish that he was here to see them finally get through, because I think it must have been cathartic for a lot of Leafs fans. I mean, and again, like a 19-year drought, that's a drought, man. Like. I hope we never have to suffer something like that. Jeez.
No, in 2004 was the last time that they had won a round. The Sharks, Senators. I'm doing this off of verbatim because I had it set up for a tweet. The Sharks, Senators, Predators, Coyotes, the current Winnipeg Gents / Atlanta Thrashers had never made a conference final.
Yeah.
The last time the Leafs had won one playoff round.
Yeah.
For me, Toronto, the only shakiness to me is just playing overconfident. And
like I said,
Samsonov's has
they
mess
don't
ups,
come
but
in, if they come in here and take the Panthers lightly, I think they're going to get a real rude awakening really quick.
Yeah. So I say Toronto in 6. I think Kachuk's going to get them on their butts soon. Barkov as well, but I think Bobrovsky again is shaky, and if Bobrovsky's really shaky, Florida's in trouble.
Which Bobrovsky? Which Bobrovsky's going to show up? I don't know.
Exactly. The final series, which I don't know why it's
super chat. Hit the super chat first.
Oh, sorry. Skylar with the $2 super chat. 7 games, no points. Alexis Lafreniere, bust. Okay. Well, I'll counter out with 7 games. Teal Meyer, no points. Bust.
Bust. Total bust. I mean, look at. I think. Yeah. I hate calling guys busts. I mean, he's playing in the NHL, but I don't think he's ever gonna become what people thought he was going to be. I like the player, but I mean, at this point, it's hard too, because obviously with all the guys they brought in, I don't think Lafreniere you're not playing him in a position to, he's not going to play over guys like Patrick Kane or Panarin or whatever. Right. So I just wonder, for him, if a change of scenery does him a world of good. I don't think he's ever going to be what people thought he was going to be, but I do wonder if a change of scenery might do him some good, and he might turn into something more than he is now.
Yeah. It also helps that you have the likes of Patrick Kane. Will he stay around? You have Panarin up there.
The Rangers summer, I think the Rangers summer is going to be one of the most fascinating in the NHL. Because when you have an owner like James Dolan, who now generally he most of the time James Dolan doesn't really fuck with the Rangers. He usually saves all his meddling for the Knicks, but we have seen him get pissed off before and just change things. So I'm really curious if James Dolan just decides to just shake everything up.
Just after a few years,
Yeah. You always, when you have an owner like that, it's always going to be I'm fascinated to see what they do. I think interesting to see. It's hard. I mean, look, I think if Boston, if it wasn't Montgomery's first year in Boston, I think you'd be expecting a coaching change there too. But I don't think you can change coach after one season. After, I mean, it's as upsetting as that playoff loss is for the Bruins. I don't think, but man, a lot of people picked the Rangers to go really far this playoffs, and they're out in the first round to a team that they absolutely despise, which makes it no easier. When they did this playoff format, and I'm not going to get too into the playoff format weeds, but these are the series that they wanted, right? These are the series that they wanted to open the first round with. They wanted these kind of these big rivalry series. So again, like when you have an owner like James Dolan, I would be fascinated to see what the summer looks like for the New York Rangers.
Kevin in the chat, you heard it, folks. Ian just predicted Tony DeAngelo back to the Rangers, TTG5.
Who knows, man?
Oh, man. All right, so let's get to the final series on it, and I think this one's going to be the best one. Edmonton and Vegas.
This should be fun.
If Laurent Brossoit can do what he did against Winnipeg,
I don't think he
against
can, no.
Edmonton.
No.
Oh,
I don't think that's good. That is my hang up for this series. I think, again, like Laurent Brossoit did a really good job against Winnipeg, but Edmonton's a completely different monster.
yeah.
I do not like the matchup for them of I don't like Laurent Brossoit facing down Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, and and look at, there was Edmonton. I think they need a little more from some of their other guys to carry the load. I think, but they definitely got contributions in the first round. But man, Vegas. I like Vegas. Like Vegas, these teams are pretty evenly matched, except for in goal.
I think they're evenly matched in goal.
They might be, that might be fair.
I mean, this could be like when they what was it? The first game of Calgary Edmonton was like 8-6 or something like that.
This is gonna be like an 8-6. Yeah, this is gonna be like this is gonna be the Glass Cannon series. Where teams are, it's just gonna be like a bunch of 8-6 games. I have a hard time betting against McDavid at this point. Like, I don't think he had a great series against Winnipeg. I think that's going to change. I think this series is going to be a lot of fun. I think of all the next round series, this is the one I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah.
Like as far as teams go, I mean, this is the one that you want the meteor to hit. But I'm going to say Edmonton in, I don't know, 6.
God damn it.
Sorry.
Edmonton in 6. They clinch it on their home ice. I think it's just going to, we'll see 4, maybe 5 goaltenders in this series, because it's just going to be crazy to see what happens here.
Yeah, and look at, it's a McDavid. I didn't even think about that. In the chat, Sleepy Racist Fan, first time we get McDavid versus Eichel.
Yeah, that's true.
1 and 2 in the same draft. And again, I think Jack Eichel, again, is a guy that I love. And I just wish that, I think he gets a lot of shit that he doesn't deserve. So I won't be happy to see Vegas move on, because I hate Vegas. Like, I'm not going to pretend I want Vegas to do well. But if Vegas did move on and Jack Eichel has a hell of a series, like I would be happy with that, I think, and then just pray to God Dallas takes care of business in the conference final.
Or Seattle.
Or Seattle for that matter.
Wouldn't that be something? Hey, no. Vegas, you lost to an expansion team.
Yeah. Now that I would enjoy, but I don't think Seattle's long. Like, once we get into like the later rounds, I don't think Seattle's long for this world. I'm sorry. Hey,
when Grubauer gets tired, you know who they're bringing in. Just saying.
No.
If we could only see the steam coming out of Ian's head as I said that.
But it's Kevin, playoff Martin Jones. It's playoff Martin Jones, though.
That's true.
Hey, that's true. Different animal.
That is very true. Kevin, Eric's best take ever. I think they're evenly matched in goals. Skinner is such a garbage goalie. How many years have I been saying this? And yet he was an all-star goaltender in the Pacific Division. That's how bad the goaltender.
And Skinner should be like. And I don't think Skinner was on my Calder ballot for our little Teal Town USA awards ballot, but he should have been. Like, that was a big oops on my part.
Agreed. He should get some votes, but
I never think of goalies for the Calder, so I just didn't even look. But yeah, I think that was maybe my biggest flub of the them. I think I had a couple. I think I had a couple of real hero choices, but I think that one is good. I know Jerk will release them at some point, and you guys can all laugh at me on Twitter. I don't mind.
It's very true. In fact, tomorrow will be the first award nominations being put out. We will find out on Thursday if Erik Karlsson gets nominated. If he doesn't get nominated, I mean...
Oh, he's going to be nominated.
I mean, that might be more screwed up than the officiating in the first round of this playoffs.
He's going to be nominated. I just don't know if he wins. I think he should win. He should win. But
there are so many heroes in there. That's very true.
Yeah, I think, like, don't get me wrong. He's first on my ballot, for sure. But yeah,
I think I want to say... Yeah, ours doesn't count, unfortunately. All right, so we'll play some percentages here before we get out of here.
Okay.
The percentage that we get an all-Canadian Cup final hasn't happened since 1989, Calgary versus Montreal. Do we get to see Toronto, Edmonton?
No, Canadian teams always find a way to fuck it up. It would be nice though. You know what? I would like that final because the one thing I really hate when I'm watching hockey, playoff hockey, is like once there's like one Canadian team left, like they're automatically Canada's team. Like I give a fuck if a Canadian team wins the cup. Like especially when you look at like some of the makeups. Like this year, I think it'd be interesting. But like when you looked at like a lot of the makeups of Canadian teams before when they made up, it's like, oh, the Canadian team with all the Russians, like. That's Canada's team. Okay. With the Americans, like I hate the Canada's team thing I understand why they do it because they want to encourage people to watch, like, even if it's, even if it's the Winnipeg Jets, they're like, hey, come watch the Winnipeg Jets, like be patriotic. It's your patriotic duty to cheer this team. And it's not, it really isn't. So if both of them make it, then there's no Canada's team bullshit, and I don't have to deal with it. I mean, the Leafs would be by default Canada's team, of course, because of the Leafs, and they are the center of the hockey universe. But I expect that. I mean, that's just being a hockey fan in Canada 365 days a year.
Oh, fun. Yeah, no, it should be interesting. And granted, I don't think it'd be the ratings buster that it would be here in the States because you have McDavid and Matthews. I think it'll be fun.
Kevin in the chat, sorry. The only goalies that can stop the Oilers are Jake Ottinger and Stuart Skinner.
Oh, jeez.
I'd add Jack Campbell to that list too if they have to go back to Jack Campbell.
I mean, and I know AJ mentioned in the chat, hey, Jack Campbell is rested. You just never know on that. Oh, very nice. Next one. Chances of we kind of shot it in there. Chances of a newish expansion team against the Canadian team, which is essentially saying Seattle, Vegas versus Toronto.
Vegas over Seattle. I think Vegas has a stronger chance than Seattle, but again, Vegas's goaltending. Vegas's goaltending is such a big question mark to me. Like I give a lot of credit to Laurent Brossoit for what he did in the first round. I don't think that he's going to do that against real teams. And I apologize to the Winnipeg Jets, but you're kind of in shambles right now. And I have a real soft spot for the Jets, man. I really do. Like if the Sharks were no longer in the league tomorrow, it's probably who I'd cheer for. Like, because I'm dumb and I like cheering for teams that no one wants to play for. That's me.
Bigger upset potential, Seattle over Dallas or Florida over Toronto? Which would be the bigger upset in my...
Oh, Florida over Toronto, I think. Again, look at Toronto. This is a team that's built to do more than it has. And maybe I'm too close to this being like everything in the media up here. Like everything is Toronto. I don't... They would both be pretty big upsets in my opinion. I think I would still take Florida. Like for Florida to beat Boston the way they Florida came into the playoffs expected to do nothing. So for them to take out the Bruins and then take the Leafs out after, I mean that's a hell of a run. Like even if you get curb stomped in the conference finals, like if I'm a Panthers fan, I'm fucking ecstatic.
Oh yeah,
with that run, like. Given that I don't think anyone expected Florida to do anything. I don't know, man. That's a hell of a run.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously,
completely.
look, at losing always sucks. Like when your team gets knocked out of the playoffs, it always sucks. But I think looking back on it, I have fonder memories for that playoff series, like for that playoff run. Then, I don't know.
Yeah. No. Yeah. This just fun stuff all around. I look forward to it. Just sucks that there's not as many games going on. We'll get 2 a night. And then,
At best, yeah.
at best,
sad times.
Yeah,
Sad
that's
times.
the tough part. I know AJ kind of responded for us, but on a different note, are we doing a live draft lottery reaction next Monday? Oh boy, howdy, are we?
If you want to see a grown man cry on national television, on national YouTube, come watch the draft show. If the Sharks get bumped down from their perch, you can watch a grown man cry on YouTube.
Yes, we will be here Monday, 4 p.m. Pacific, on this YouTube channel. So if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button.
What did you think of the hit on Timo Meier?
I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay. The interesting thing is that it looked fairly similar to me with what was it? Jarrett Stoll and Rafi Torres. He wasn't aiming for the head. He just got shoulder to head.
So here's the thing, right? I think I think under the current rules, it's a clean hit. Yeah. I don't know what. Again, look at Timo Meier's coming down. He's a little bit low.
Right.
But you can't, like, if you're like it's a playoff game, you cannot let Timo Meier skate to the net. Like, you have to stop him at the blue line. I understand why people don't like the hit, but like, if you want to, like, they're going to have to change the rules. If you want that kind of hit out of the game, you have to change the rules, because under the current rules, that's a clean hit. And I know if you're a Timo Meier fan, you might not like it. And I think we don't really see, like, Trouba's kind of a callback to a type of game that we don't really see anymore. And knowing what we know now about CTE and everything, like, obviously we don't. I understand why people don't like that hit,
right?
But I think under the current rules, man, the right call. No penalty. Yeah, I don't know. Like, there no penalty. It should be what it is. Like, I think it's under the current rules. It was fine. It's a clean hit. It's a clean hit with some really nasty after effects. But again, what is the defenseman supposed to do in that situation? Are you supposed to let him skate through to the net, or do you drop him where he is? And I think Trouba did what he was supposed to do in that situation. Right. But I understand why people don't like it.
Yeah, and Lindy Ruff was saying that he'd have to take a look at it again, but he felt that there was contact with the head.
Yeah, because but if you watch the replay, like, Timo Meier is like,
his head is down.
Right. Like, I mean, he's not, like, if I'm playing and Jacob Trouba's on the other team, I'm gonna make damn sure if I'm crossing that blue line, I'm aware of my surroundings. I don't think, like, again, I think it's a clean hit. I don't think that, again, I understand why people don't like the hit. But if you don't like that hit, then you have to change the rules, and I don't think the NHL has any appetite for that.
So, and we're hearing from Mike Leslie. Thank you, AJ, by the way. Pavelski will make his return to the ice tomorrow night for Game 1 against the Seattle Kraken. So good news to have.
Yeah, good.
Pavs back.
You know what? And I'm gonna get a lot of hate, but I didn't have a problem with that hit either.
That one was a little questionable for me, just because how it was a little late on that one and such. And of course, we're bringing up Meyer, Pavs, Cogliano, former Sharks getting wrecked. Yep. Burns better watch out.
Brent Burns.
Stefan Asen heads up too.
Yeah.
You feel for Cogliano too. He fractured neck on something that didn't look that horribly harmful.
I didn't like that hit very much. I didn't really have an issue with the hit on Pavelski. But again, I think it's one of those things where I think that people, again, I understand why people don't like that kind of hit. And I think that, again, if that kind of hit is going to be bad, they have to change the rules.
Yeah. All right. So
it's been a while. It's been long enough. I'm sure my Twitter will be fine. But this is also another good reason why we didn't have to do shows earlier, because I think if I came out and said that right after it happened, I think I'd get yelled at on Twitter a lot. But now I don't think anyone will care.
Yeah,
yes.
I hope Cogliano's okay. That one, just to hear the result of it, that was rough. Kind of like that. Was it the weird Mason Raymond hit in the Cup Finals years ago? That's just you feel for him and you hope he's okay, and hope Timo's okay, because that kind of does affect the picks that the Sharks get. He has to play in 50% of the playoff games, and if the Devils win in 7, you're at 50, and if he's out for the playoffs, if the Devils move on and everything, that throws everything off, because that 2023 pick can go back to 2024. So we'll see on that. So with that, I think that's all the things we got covered up here. In case you missed anything, or you want to watch this again, of course, check us out on tealtownusa.com. You can make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and notification bells. Jeez, it's like I forgot how to do this after like a few weeks off. You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's Apple and Google Podcasts. You can also hit us up on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeart Radio, Odyssey, of course, also on Amazon Music. Always available at Timo Town.
Timo Town, USA.
Oh, no. tealtownusa.com. I was going to say, leave your comments in the comment section if you didn't watch this live. Who do you think is going to make it into the conference finals? Do you agree with me and Ian, essentially, Toronto versus Carolina or Toronto versus New Jersey? Do you see Seattle pulling off the upset? I have some friends in Seattle. Shout out to Strawberry. He's the in-game host for the Seattle Kraken, so it's nice to see a friend doing things.
Kevin Lacey bring up a good point. Sharks prospect news: Alex Young transferred to what he says is the most overrated college program in America. Look, they play in an NHL barn, my friend. I don't know what you're talking about.
That is a Big Ten team.
They play in an NHL arena. I don't. They're not overrated to me.
So yes, Alex Young transferred over there. One thing we forgot to mention. Here's the last one I was going to do percentage-wise. What is the percentage? And shout out to AJ again. What is the percentage that Daryl Sutter is the next head coach of the Anaheim Ducks?
0.
You think he's done?
Look, I don't think the Calgary Flames seem to have his number and they can bring him back whenever they want. The thing with Daryl Sutter is I think he's an old school coach, and I think players like him at first, but he wears out his welcome very quickly. And I just think with today's player, he's a goalie that has just such a short shelf life. And I think if you're a team like Anaheim, who should be trying to move up at this point, like, I don't think Anaheim can have another season like they've had, especially if they get lucky and draft a certain player named Connor Bedard.
He's not going there. No.
I don't want him to go there either. But should he go there, is Daryl Sutter the guy you want there, knowing that he's not going to have a long shelf life? I don't see it.
We shall see. I'm really curious as who they're going to bring in as a coach. I'm really curious as to.
I'm curious. I think Daryl Sutter, like the Calgary Flames, might bring him back in 4 years, but
he'll be on the farm, ready to go.
I think that's what'll happen.
I'm curious as to what Pittsburgh does, because all the rumors we heard. Oh, when Kyle Dubas when his Leafs lose, he's going to Pittsburgh. Well, they won a series.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if they get stomped by the Panthers, do you think winning a series that's good enough? Like, do you think that's good enough? If I'm Toronto, it's not good enough for me.
Well,
like if they get curve stomped by the Panthers, which I don't think they will, but if they do, like, I don't feel like that gives you a stay of execution. Like, I think it's at that point, I don't know, man. The Leafs are a hard team, because I think, again, they're a team that should do more than they've done for sure. But I don't know but I don't know if you get a stay of execution there.
The also is the timing too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, if the Leafs lose, you're into like mid-May. If it goes a long series, you're in mid-May and you're going to make a GM change a month before, you know, the draft.
Well, I mean, that work's already done.
Yeah, no, that's true. Just ask Mike Greer.
100%. That work's already done. I don't know.
So yeah, leave your comments down below as to what you think is going to happen. Does Seattle pull off an upset? Does Edmonton and Vegas, actually have a 10-9 score in one of these games in the next round? Does Toronto just, put the mighty might roar on the Panthers, as one Brad Marchand would say? So until then, thank you for watching. We will be back with you Monday, 4 p.m. Be here. Tell all your friends. Make them subscribe. Make them like it, because we need all the good Teal vibes here, people.
Absolutely. I mean, look, we could see a grown man cry on YouTube, but I'd rather not see a grown man cry on YouTube.
Well, it might be tears of joy.
Could be tears. Those are fine. My concern being Anaheim, and yeah, there's a lot of things that'll make me very unhappy that day.
Right.
So tune in if you want your Canadian robot fix. That'll be you might get a very angry Canadian robot that day. We'll see.
Right. So thanks for watching. Appreciate each and every one of you. Enjoy the second round. The first round, I don't know how you can how you can beat the first round. That's the crazy stuff, So until
the second
then,
round's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a blast. And until then, keep it real, keep it Teal, keep it real Teal. Have a great night, everyone. We will see you Monday when the Sharks hopefully land first overall. Good night, everyone.